Hi, welcome back to another episode of SEO On-Air. I'm your host Aaron, and today we have Ben Foster, CEO of the SEO Works. We talk about what life was like before becoming CEO, how things have changed over the years, and what his plans are for the future. I hope you enjoy this episode. Who
Yeah.
exactly is Ben Foster, and how did you get to this point before you actually got here on the call?
Where I was from, near Newcastle in the northeast. And yeah, the first job I applied for, I got an interview, which was based in Sheffield for a company called PlusNet who did broadband. I got the interview and got offered the job as a web designer. So that was it. I thought, well, I'll just pack my stuff up and move to Sheffield and start into the real world of work. And yeah, it was interesting because the first day I got there, the guy who had hired me had been fired. He'd gone, and I don't think they were quite expecting me to turn up. They're like, "Who's this guy?" And I kind of just got shoved in the corner with some work to do. And yeah, again, my approach was just I'll just get my head down, and I'll do my work, and I'll work hard and see where it takes me. Really.
Did you really feel that this was going to be your calling in terms of media technology and production? And did you really think, or how have things changed over the past 10, 15 years since?
I think I've never had a vision of wanting to be a CEO or a leader of a business. That's kind of happened as my experience and confidence has evolved. But so really, at the very start of my career, it was just like do something you're interested in, really,
Right.
and see where it goes. You know, if it doesn't work out, you can always change and do something different or whatever. So I think, at the start, there wasn't a grand vision. It was more get a job, get working. And then once you're in the company, in the organisation, start to understand how it works, build a network in that organisation, build some friendships up, etc., and start building a reputation for yourself as someone who can be reliable and trusted and can do stuff. And that's what sort of started the progression.
Right.
And I think has stuff changed? Not really. No, I mean media is still a huge area of opportunity for people who want to get into this area. Certainly, obviously, digital has been the main thing that's evolved since since I left uni back in 2000. But it's still a great place to start a career, and there's lots of opportunity out there. Yeah.
Back in 2000 and so, I don't think there were a lot of, let's say, SEO courses or digital marketing courses because back then it just didn't really exist.
Right. Yeah.
If you had to go back to 2000 and teach your younger self, what are some, let's say, 3 tips that you would give?
Teach myself what
Stuff that you learned today that you would probably want to have known back then.
Right. I think patience is really important. Things don't happen overnight. You have to be consistent. Turn up every day, even if it's not your best day. Turn up and do stuff. And don't aim for perfection. Aim for getting stuff done. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's better to be 8% of the way there and get something out and to the world or to your bosses or whatever and wait and receive feedback. And one of the sort of mottos at PlusNet was it's all about delivery, which was really about it was a tech business. It was back in the days of broadband just coming out. It used to be dial up moving into broadband, and so it was quite fast moving in the sense that the technology was changing and we had to keep on evolving with the new products that were coming out. And, it was just about getting stuff out and over the line and done, not 100% perfect, just enough to get out on the website and to get to the consumer. So I think, being patient, being consistent, trying to establish what your own personal values are as well, and just working hard. Really, I think they're things that anyone coming in to any business would benefit from and offer value to their employer with.
How exactly did the SEO work start off? I'm pretty sure it didn't happen overnight, but how did you kind of get to that point?
So the SEO Works, I joined the SEO Works to help grow it, to help scale it. It started out, our founder he essentially created it just as SEO was starting. Really, he managed to build his own white goods business using search as the only channel for selling stuff, and that worked for a while. And then big providers like AO etc. came along, and the business couldn't sustain the margins. But using what he'd learned using Google as the sales channel, he then started the SEO Works as a local business, really. And just worked with sort of local organisations to build it up. And when I joined, I'd got to know them because in a few roles later, I was at a health business, which was a health portal for end users. And I managed to grow that with the team from about 2 million visitors a month to over 20 million visitors a month. And a big channel of that was SEO. And I worked with the SEO Works to deliver that growth, and I got to know the founder of the SEO Works. At that point, there was about 20 people in the business, and the founder really didn't know how to scale it or to build it or to grow it, and he was wanting to step back a bit. And after I think it was about 4 years of working with him as a provider of SEO to the healthcare business I was in, the opportunity arose to come in and lead the SEO Works and really start to grow it and scale it.
And you've been there, I think, for a couple of years, I think, right? I think maybe 2, 3.
Well, I've been at the SEO Works. No, I've been at the SEO Works for about 7 years now. So initially I was there as managing director, which progressed to CEO, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something.
I feel kind of stupid asking that question because in my notes, literally the line after the one I just said was you were previously a managing director from May 2016 to 2022 December. And I was like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have just asked that question. But you've actually held quite a few of feathers in your cap while you've had your career. I think you started off with web design. You were a creative manager, e-commerce manager, senior digital account manager, operations director. Out of all these different, let's say, hats that you've had to wear, what is one that you feel more, let's say, in tuned with, or one that you would rather go back to every time?
That's quite hard to sort of picture, but I think the good thing is by evolving and doing different things, you keep things fresh, and you experience new challenges and new pressures. I think if you were doing the same thing all that time, you'd get really bored. And I suppose I do like practical elements. So I do like getting my hands dirty with the odd bit of work here and there. Or the opportunities are less and less in the role I am now. But yeah, I think it's all about evolution, isn't it? And the different challenges you get as you progress through your career, really. But yeah, I suppose I'm a sort of techie at heart, really. So anything sort of slightly geeky or marketing related, I love.
You wouldn't mind kind of going back to it because it would keep it fresh and kind of challenge you a little bit more to revisit those things.
Yeah, I mean, I still do some work certainly within SEO, working with the team on our own website. I'm still quite actively involved with that. Very passionate about it, and it's a key channel for us for growth. So it's one to keep close to, really. So I still do get a few opportunities in there, and I have a few side projects as well, which keep me busy outside of work as well.
Yeah, it's good to have a few side projects outside your current job because, again, like you said, it helps keep things fresh, keep your mind a bit challenged as well.
And it helps you experiment and try new stuff where it's lower risk, really. So you're continually learning new things, and you've got an area where you can test things before you sort of work it out, really.
Yeah, and I feel with this experimenting, you might find something that you didn't know you were actually interested in, and you can actually now put in some time and effort into that.
Totally.
It's going to be like a two-parter question again. When you kind of transition from managing director to CEO, one, as a person itself, what are some of the challenges that you had to face making that transition? And two, as a new CEO, what were some of the issues and challenges you had to face for the company?
Well, like I said, I've been in the business for about 7 years. Sorry, 5.5 years or whatever before I progressed to CEO as managing director. So I kind of knew the business inside out. Had really good working relationships with the other leaders in the business. We're a strong unit. So the progression was, it still felt, you felt like you had more responsibility stepping into that role, I suppose more as a figurehead. But ironically, you kind of have less control over the day-to-day happenings of the business. So, the biggest leap of faith was continuing to trust those people around you to run the business day-to-day and help and support them, where you can, really. And the other challenge was moving my visibility more external. So engaging in things like this, doing more public posting. I'm not a loud, gregarious and out there person. So, that's a personal challenge for me. Speaking at events, continually posting things on LinkedIn and doing things like this to get the name of the company out there. It's not my natural environment. So that's been another challenging thing I've took on got on with, really.
I don't normally ask this question because I feel like there's a whole list of questions that we have to ask to kind of get to know the guest. But I feel like I should probably just ask this. How are you feeling about this entire change and transition, considering that this wasn't your, let's say, natural habitat in the first place?
I like it. I like it. It's a different role, but it takes a while to adapt into it and adjust and hand over responsibility and start to work in new ways. But I feel I've genuinely got time to think strategically and develop those outward facing things. And I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's great, and it's great to see the business continue to go from strength to strength as well. And I'm still very much involved in that, supporting people where I can.
Where do you see yourself in, let's say, the next couple of years as well, along with SEO Works too?
I mean, I think it's still been in this role, really helping. We've got ambitious plans to continue our growth, and things are continually changing. So we've got to, we're not going to take things for granted. We've got to not rest on our laurels. We've got to continually evolve and progress. And we have a structure we call a strategic planning process every year, where that has helped us the business change over the past 7 years since I've been here. Each year it's been a slightly different business because we've continually worked on that. So there's still lots to do in that area, and we still need to do that. So yeah, that's the key focus, really. Hopefully, I've started doing things a bit like lecturing at universities. So hopefully, I would like to try and help others or inspire others to come into digital, through help and educate them about digital, and also just telling them about the opportunities that are available in digital as well. So hopefully helping others is something I can do as well as things evolve.
The SEO Works, and I want to throw in a few hypothetical questions for yourself. So one question before we kind of get into it is, when it comes to the SEO Works, who would you say is the most common client that you would get?
So I would say our core customer is a business that isn't just starting out. They've grown, already, and they've already realised they need to invest in marketing, because that's one of the biggest psychological things as a business you need to get over. It's marketing's not a nice to have; it's an absolutely necessary investment. If you want to continue and sustain your growth. And there's one thing, understanding that and believing that, and there's also another thing, having the budget to do that consistently. And so we look for businesses that are in that pool, which generally means, they've grown past sort of real small startup size. They're generating a good amount of turnover. They've probably got a marketing manager in-house who's handling the marketing for them, rather than it being the owner. And they just want to look and find one of the best companies out there to work with. In terms of sectors, we work with, of course, lots of different sectors. Digital is appropriate for everyone now, whether you're business to business or business to consumer. But we do have real strong pools in certain sectors. So, education is one of them. Software as a service is another. Financial professional services is another area. E-commerce, naturally, is another area, and healthcare, wellness, etc. So, but we can help pretty much any client from any sector. But we've got some real great, examples of work, certainly in those sectors. But you name a niche, and we'll probably have a case study of some work we've done in there and results we've gained for a client.
My way into it. So my name is Archie. I have a school called Riverdale. I am technically the owner of it. We've been going for a couple of years. We kind of take in students from the youngest of batches to, let's say, middle school, where it's like maybe 5th or 6th grade, or I think around 12, 13 years age. We've kind of done well enough to be known locally, but we're not too proud of ourselves on the internet. We don't really have much of an online presence. And for the most part, me and my partner, Betty and Veronica, they're not really interested in actually expanding. But I want them to kind of know we can do that and the benefits of doing that. So I approached the SEO Works and I asked you guys, hey, can you give me a lowdown of what is the potential of our online presence, marketability?
Yeah, we could certainly help with that. What we do, if you're looking internationally, we start to understand who your target audience is. It might be parents of the children, it might also be the children as well. We try to understand, if you've got a specific profile of families you bring into the school, and we then look at the way they search online, the way they use the internet, and the different phases of research, from real high funnel informational level searches right more down to transactional interested searches. And then we do that internationally. So we look at the target areas you're looking to grow to, and start to look more broadly where the opportunities are. And then, once we'd identified this is the market size, this is the market opportunity, we'd then look at your platform, your website, and understand how that is, how it is performing right now. And then we'd look at, right, well, if we want to reach these new international markets, what do we need to do to start to reach that? Whether we'd need to rebuild the website or evolve it, add content to it, improve it. And we could track that. We could track that work over months and start to measure the impact that was happening. In fact, we helped the University of Birmingham, who are a client of ours, open their Dubai campus. So this is very, very similar. It was the very first campus they had internationally. So they wanted to make that visible, and they wanted to attract not just Dubai students, but people from UAE, etc., from around the wider network, and we helped them launch that Dubai campus online, and understand how they should be, what content they should be creating, and how they should be building that site out to target students from a broader area, and it worked very well, the launch. So yeah, we've got experience in that area and helping businesses grow internationally.
I fully agree that we should be following those steps, but Betty and Veronica are a bit confused right now. They feel that whatever you have said is more of an SEO process, but they don't really understand the difference between the SEO process and the marketing side of things. So I know we do need a mix of both, but what exactly is the differences between the both? Again, for Betty and Veronica, I'm fully aware.
Yeah. Well, I suppose online marketing takes lots of different forms. Obviously, SEO is one of them, and you should certainly be investing, part of your budget into SEO. But another area to reach customers is using paid advertising. So paid search, that's actually appearing, in the ad slots at the very top of Google when someone searches for something which is relevant to your business. Or paid social, which is targeting specific audiences across your social platforms, your Facebooks, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. and even paid advertising. So that's using the banner adverts you see all across the web to generate awareness, and video advertising to put your adverts that you see at the start of YouTube, shorts, etc. You can pay to appear in those slots as well. So there's lots of different areas across the web where you can appear. Obviously, SEO is probably going to give you the best return on investment over time, but certainly the other channels are super important as well, and we work across those areas as well. You then think of your owned media, so that's your things like your email lists, etc. So thinking about email marketing to your user base is another way of continually having a drip message out to your audience. So yeah, there's lots of different channels really, and SEO is just one of those areas across your paid, owned, and earned media. Earned media being things like digital PR, where it's trying to get your name out into the wide world, through other publishers, featuring you and your stories, and that's again something we can help you with.
I have another question that I'll probably save for later, but if this hypothetical was to work out and I did approach you for help for my university or my school, what are some of the signs that I might show that you will be like, hey, listen, I don't want to work with you? Basically, what are signs of a bad client?
I mean, I think we try and qualify clients through, we're not just to smash out a generic proposal and pitch to anyone. We'll try and have a nice in-depth conversation before that to really understand the business a bit, and do some bespoke work to try and analyse the client's current situation. So an instant red flag is that client hasn't got enough time to jump on a call with you, for 20 minutes or so to discuss their challenges. Or just send it over email. It's like, well, there's a red flag there instantly. They're not that engaged or not that interested. Obviously, we'll try and qualify clients ahead on budget to make sure they have the appropriate investment required to work with an agency like ourselves of our size and caliber. And then I suppose you can often tell during a pitch process on the nature of questions you get from a client, whether they're going to be one there that you'll want to work with or not really.
To kind of go to the other question now, if I do again follow the process and I have now kind of taken my SEO and my marketing to an equal 50-50 ratio, I'm not too sure which one I should put more money into. I came across this idea that maybe I could just hire someone in-house and then just dump all the work on them instead of coming to an agency instead. So what are some of the pros and cons of doing that? And what would you actually suggest a school to do, let's say?
Yeah, I think, it all comes down to, how much confidence you have about managing things in-house versus not. I mean, typically, if you're starting out a marketing team in-house, you're going to hire a marketing generalist. So someone who's able to manage multiple channels for you, and deliver, maybe handle your email campaign, handle your press releases, handle your content updates on your website, and they'll be dragged from pillar to post probably within the business, getting involved in other internal things as well. So I think one of the challenges you'll have hiring in-house is that if you're hiring a marketing generalist to do something highly specialized like SEO, you will probably find a challenge in getting someone who has that general ability across channels to then hone down to a level of depth and focus required to deliver in that one. So, I suppose it comes down to, whether you think it's a specialist thing where you need external help, which frees up time internally to focus on other business matters, or whether you think you can get someone who's specialised enough to focus on it. Now, I suppose, again, if you're thinking, right, well, we'll just hire an SEO specialist, I've seen that done. And in fact, a few of our team have gone on to work inside businesses in specialist roles, and they do a very good job. It is very hard to find a specialist in terms of someone who's going to understand the full spectrum of SEO.
Right.
From being great at writing content to understanding the technical issues of your website, the speed, the new, speed factors like NLP, etc. And who's going to be able to build links for you as well. So, SEO in itself is a mixture of skill sets and right and left brain sort of mindsets as well. So I suppose the benefit of working with an agency versus one person in-house doing it all is that you have access to those different brains, those different skills for doing the different elements of SEO. But it's really down to the business. If you're going to bring in a good quality SEO in-house, that is probably going to cost the same, if not more, than an agency annual campaign would cost. It's probably, depending on who you work with, negligible. So it's probably not going to be a cost saving. It's going to be more, you want to have much more closer. If you've got someone in the business working on SEO, and they can just do that all the time. They can do that, but they might not have all the skills to do the best job. But it's totally down to the business really as to what they want to do.
I do feel like if you do plan on, let's say, taking SEO to the highest level, it's good to build an in-house team because you can keep expanding on that. But if it is something like a school or university where it's not really your main focus, but you still need it, I think hire out an agency that's really professional in what they do and have the different brains to take care of whatever challenges are thrown at you. I think that would be the optimal way. This is basically like a subtle plug to kind of push and promote the SEO work. So I'm glad that we can actually come to that conclusion.
I think it's often down to budget really, isn't it? And like you say, if you're building a big SEO team in-house, you're going to have a big investment, for
Right.
3, 4, 5 people, you're talking in the hundreds of thousands there. So I suppose, can you get, if you've got a smaller budget than that, then perhaps an agency can help, make that more effective.
And I think in agency, you're not really committed to like years of service. You can take it for like 3-4 months, let that work out. If they're not your tune, then you can go to a different agency or a different service. So
Yeah,
it's
you
not
can
really
maybe
like
work with them to build it to a certain level, and then with a longer term view, bringing it in house as you evolve, really.
But one of the things that we've not really touched on, and we've kind of gone through the history of your life and SEO and digital marketing, we haven't really talked about AI in marketing and how that's kind of disrupted the whole scene. One, what are your thoughts on it in general? And two, what are your hopes for it in the future?
Obviously, it's been the thing that everyone's been talking about, ever since it came out. So it is the buzz thing at the moment, and everyone's trying to weave AI into everything they do. Really, I think from the point of view of Google, you can say everything's changing, but also you can say nothing's changing. Ultimately, Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it accessible to everyone, and that's not changed. So ultimately, the goal to rank in Google is to create great information that's relevant to your target audience. And I suppose search generative experience is coming into Google at some point, so we will see an evolution of the front page of Google. But ultimately, if you want to be featured in there, it's still about great content. And I know there's lots of stuff and excitement and buzz around AI, especially with generative AI for content purposes. But I think we view AI as a tool, but it shouldn't be something that replaces human created content. AI essentially regurgitates existing content. It scrapes what's out there, so you'll struggle to get anything unique. Well, you won't get anything unique from it. And if it's not unique, it'll be very hard to rank. GPT's training data is from 2022, so it's out of date in terms of current affairs, current things going on, and it can also make up a lot of data if you're asking it to write content. Not to mention it's hallucinations. Yes, that's where it writes a very believable fact in a very believable sort of section of content. But actually, if you don't fact check it, it's completely wrong. Its tone as well, its default tone is very bland, very robotic, so it won't represent a brand's voice. So I think using generative AI to write content, huge swathes of content, isn't the right way to use it, really. But yeah, you should be using it in your workflows, embrace it, where it can help. It's very good at things like categorization. If you're trying to get to categorize 1,000 keywords into, different levels of search intent, for example, it's very good at something like that. It's quite good if you're struggling with a topic you research and you need to know a lot more about it. You can ask it questions and find a lot more about it. So you maybe use it for research, perhaps suggesting headlines, or working on a draft outline of the things you might want to include in an article. It's useful. But ultimately, creating the content, we feel, still needs to be very much human-led and AI-assisted. So it's a tool to get used to if you haven't already, and a tool to embrace. I think it will speed you up in certain areas, but we don't just use it to knock out 2,000 words of content, because it's not going to be very good.
Or 2,000 blogs in like an hour.
Yeah, totally no. And I mean, the latest algorithm update, I think, will crack down on that a lot. You've seen over the past year sites that have just been spun up with AI and pushed out there, and you see some people with the charts going up, etc. I think a lot of those sites are good, will not be long lasting, really.
So what about the future of AI? Do you think it's going to mess things up a little bit more, or do you think as long as we have the control, AI is going to be under watch?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. You see the different headlines, don't you? I think you're either in one of two camps. It's the extreme view is it's going to take over the world and it's going to
This guy is going to happen.
Exactly. I'm not there with that. I think there'll be a lot of hype, but it's just another technological evolution in life, like the very first motor car, or the TV, or whatever. It's
Right.
it's just a part of evolution, and there'll be ways it can harm. Absolutely, there'll be ways it can help as well. And I think some people think it's going to take over. I'm certainly not one of them. I think if we embrace it and learn its strengths and weaknesses, it should help overall. But there will be areas where it really does harm as well. But you could say that about any technology.
So basically, if you had 2 minutes to advertise yourself and promote yourself and SEO Works, how would you kind of go about that?
I suppose, we've been around in the industry for a long time, really, since the dawn of SEO. And SEO is in our blood. We've seen pretty much every challenge under the sun of SEO, and we've got the experience in house to do it. We've got one of the largest teams of SEO professionals in the UK, and we've got loads and loads of great case studies and credentials of examples of work of how we've helped clients grow. Won lots of awards, of course, as well for our work. So we really are a trusted provider in that space. Also in paid advertising, we've got a big team there working really hard and delivering integrated work for clients there. And we just recently won Best Integrated Agency at the Digital Agency Awards. So we've got good credentials there, great reviews online, and ultimately, I think we have, our mission is to get you more customers online, and we have a real commercial focus from day one. So it's not fluffy. We try and drive everything back to how this is impacting your business, and we're only happy when we can see that value and that growth we're delivering, really. So if you're looking for someone who's been around the block, who knows SEO inside out, who's got the best team of digital professionals in the UK, and you want to work with them, then we're certainly worth including in your considerations.
I like the confidence in that. Where can people find you, though?
SEOworks.co.uk. Search Google for things like SEO agency, UK SEO agency. We practice what we preach. We rank incredibly well for hundreds of related keywords relating to what we do. And that's a really good selling point for clients. If you search for, UK SEO or UK SEO agency, we'll be there on page one. And and we're also, on LinkedIn, we've got a huge community there. It's SEO Works, the SEO Works. So you can find us on our socials as well.
Ben, for the chat. I'm mostly glad you made everything very bite-sized and I don't have to break my head to find out what words you were using.
Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you enjoyed. For more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe.